I have one question for our second judge here. Judge, you remember a couple of years ago going on a broadcast called Visible Voices Podcast? I do, Senator. All right. Here's what you said. It was just a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking way back in law school or anything. We're talking about a couple of years. You'd been on the bench how long? 8 years then?
I've been on the bench almost 10.
Yeah. Well, but when you said this in front of God and country, you'd been on the bench 8. You said it in January 31, 2022. Here's what you said, quote, "I think that COVID has brought a lot of these issues to bear, especially in the legal profession, where I tell a lot of people all the time, we, the people, never included people of color or women."
Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're tackling a fiery exchange that's been making headlines, raising questions about diversity, equity, and implicit bias in the judiciary. We're unpacking everything, what was said, the reactions, and what it all means. Stick around because this one's a must-watch for anyone passionate about justice and progress.
When you have an institution that is set up by property-owning white men for 200 years or so, it wasn't geared toward thinking about what would be the best work schedule or how we could really incorporate women with children in this field. So it's been a challenge that COVID was exacerbated, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes, Senator, you did.
And then you go on later in the podcast to call for quotas based on gender, don't you?
No, sir, I never,
Yes, you
ever
do.
claimed
If the
anything
senator
about
will give
quotas.
me time, I'll read what you said. May I finish reading what you said? The witnesses denied believing in quotas based on gender, and I have the quote.
Senator, you may read the quote, and then she will give an opportunity to respond.
Okay, here's your quote, Judge. Your words, not mine. Quote, "I think recognizing implicit bias is really important." Me too. "But I'll be honest, I don't think that's enough. Because the truth of the matter is nobody is going to voluntarily give up their position in favor of women. Women have to demand it. Women have to be willing to require and hold people accountable, hold men who are in those positions accountable, and say, quote, why don't we have an equal number of supervising judges, close quote." You didn't tell me the truth, did you? You believe in quotas based on gender, don't you?
Senator, your time's expired. I'd let the witness respond.
Thank you. No, I have never advocated on behalf of quotas. I think it's undisputed that at the time.
This?
Please
I just read it.
I think at the time that the Constitution was written, there is no question that it did not include women, and it did not include people of color in the definition of we the people. We, as women and people of color, have only recently been able to be judges or jurors or politicians. But the systems that were created when I was excluded and when people of color were excluded continue. All I was commenting upon is that the diversity in the judiciary builds integrity in the system and public confidence in those institutions. I never mentioned anything about quota. Thank you.
What do you think about this heated exchange?